Okay, guys. First of all, I want to thank those of you that did give me some effort over the last couple of days, and we're working on the cast preparation, right? And now I know some of you guys were sophomores, but it's only a year away, and it helps to get a head start on it. So, based on the results, I wanted to make a few corrections with you. So let's start with problem number 1 here. So, by the way, correction set number 1 is on radical equations and rational equations. And let's get started. So on number 1 here, notice I have a square root here. And the thing we have to remember is a square root, we have to remove the square root by using its inverse, which is the 2 power, the square power. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to square both sides. Now the square gets rid of the square root, so what I'm left with is what's inside. 7b plus 8 will equal. Now what's 8 squared? Well, that's 8 times 8. Don't forget what squared means, and that's 64. Now it's just an equation to solve. I'm going to minus 8. 7b is now 56. I'm going to divide by 7. b is therefore 8. All right, let's do another example. Number 3. Notice the square root, so I'm going to square both sides. And what's 6 squared? Well, 6 times 6 is 36. The square root is gone now. All I'm left with is 4x plus 8. From here, I'm going to minus 8. So 4x will equal 28. And when I divide by 4, x must be 7 in this case. Okay. If you haven't, well, you know what? Let's just keep going on here. I'm mumbling and stumbling a little too much. So, notice the square root. I'm going to square both sides. The square root is gone. All I'm left with is n minus 8 equal to, now what's 9 squared? 9 times 9 is 81. I'm going to add 8 to both sides. N, therefore, is 89. For some reason, my computer liked the 8s this time, huh? Okay. Now, that hopefully will get you through the basic square root equations. Now, what about rational equations? Well, guys, what you have to do, first of all, is focus on the denominators. And we need a common denominator. So notice how they all have a k. Okay, so let's make note of that. And what we're going to do is times by everything by the common denominator. So I know I'm going to times by k. And because this one and this one also have a 2 in them, I'm going to times by 2 as well. So my common denominator is 2k. And what happens now is I'm going to times every single thing by 2k, and a lot of nice things are going to happen. Like notice here and here, they're going to cancel each other out. I'm just left with 1 equals. Here, only the k's cancel out. So I have this 2 times 1, which is a 2, plus. Here, the 2 k's cancel out. I'm left with k minus 8. And now I just have an equation to solve again. So 1 equals k minus 6, because 2 minus 8 is negative 6. Now I'm just going to add 6 to both sides. K must be 7. Okay, let's try number 9. Notice how they all have x squareds. So we're going to times by x squared. Notice this one has a 10. Therefore, we're going to times everything also by 10. So the common denominator is just the individual combinations, or a combination of individual little pieces that are factored from the denominators. So 10x squared is what I want. Let's see what happens here. The x squareds cancel. I just have 10 times 1, which of course is 10. Equals. I notice the x squareds cancel out. Now I have a 10, guys, I got to distribute. So equals this 10 I have to times with x minus 4. I'll write it down just to make sure I'm not skipping any steps or going too fast. Over here, well, we have a minus. Let's keep the minus. Notice everything cancels, and I'm left with 1. So now I have 10 equals, distributing, I got 10x minus 40 with this minus 1. 10 equals 10x minus 41. Minus 40 minus 1 is minus 41. Now I'm going to solve by adding 41 to both sides. So 10x is going to equal 51 because 10 plus 41 is 51. And I finish by dividing by 10. So x is 51 tenths, which can't be simplified or reduced. All right, let's try another one. Now, this one, I think you guys got stuck on that state practice test because notice how we have a number that's not a fraction. Well, let's see what happens. Let's focus on our common denominator. Notice both of them have an n, so we're going to times by n everything. There are 3 terms or 3 parts I had to times by n. Now, n is the only denominator. So n is actually my common denominator. Let's see what happens. Here the n's cancel. I'm left with n minus 5 plus. Here the n's cancel. I'm left with the 1 equals. Here I have to take n times 10 because there's nothing here to cancel it out with. So therefore, I have 10 times n, or 10n. So n minus 4 equals 10n, right? Because 1 minus 5 is negative 4. I'm going to minus n both sides to get all my n's together. So negative 4 equals 9n. And I divide by 9. And so n must be negative 4/9. All right, let's squeeze in one more. Why not? Number 12. Notice the 6 does not have a fraction with it. No big deal. Our common denominator is going to be x. And since this one has an extra 2 factor, it's got to also be 2. So let's see what happens. Here, nothing simplifies with the 2x. So 2x times 6 is 12x equals. Here the 2x's cancel. I'm just left with 1 plus. Here the x's cancel. I have to take 2 times x plus 5. So 12x equals 1 plus, distributing into 2, 2x plus 10. 12x equals 2x plus 11. 10 plus 1 is 11, right? Now I'm going to minus 2x to get the x's together. So 10x will equal 11. And now I just need to divide by 10. So x must be 11 tenths. So anyways, guys, hopefully this video helped you. You're going to watch, study. I recommend you take notes in your notebook and or make flashcards on some of these problems. Okay? Because you know I'm going to eventually give you a quiz on this sooner or later. But that ends our first of 2 videos today. See you in class tomorrow.